It's 23:47. You told yourself you'd sleep at 11, maybe even 10:30. You were serious this time. Tomorrow matters. You have things to do. You want to wake up clear, disciplined, in control. But instead, you're lying in bed with your phone 6 inches from your face. Your thumb keeps moving. One more video, one more post, one more refresh. You're not even enjoying it anymore. You're tired. Your eyes burn. Your brain feels foggy. And yet, you can't stop. You know this is hurting you. You know tomorrow morning will feel heavy. You know this isn't productive. But something inside you resists putting the phone down. It feels almost uncomfortable to stop. Silence feels strange. Stillness feels empty. So you scroll again. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet voice asks, "Why can't I just stop?" If that moment feels painfully familiar, this isn't about weak willpower. It's not about being addicted in some dramatic way. And it's not just bad habits. The reason you can't stop scrolling at night is deeper, more psychological, and more predictable than you think. And once you understand it, the behavior stops feeling mysterious. First, let's look at what night actually does to your brain. Throughout the day, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for planning, discipline, and impulse control, works hard. It manages decisions, social interactions, responsibilities, and constant stimulation. By the time night arrives, that system is fatigued, not broken, just tired. Self-control is a finite resource across the day. The later it gets, the weaker your ability to resist impulses becomes. So, at 23:47, you are not operating with the same mental strength you had at 9 a.m. But fatigue alone isn't the real reason. The real reason is what night represents psychologically. Night is when distraction disappears. The noise slows down. There are no more external demands, no emails, no conversations, no obligations. And when the world goes quiet, your internal world gets louder. Thoughts you pushed away during the day begin to surface. Worries, self-evaluations, regret, unfinished tasks, doubt, loneliness, pressure about tomorrow. During the day, you can outrun these feelings. At night, you can't. Scrolling becomes an escape hatch, not from boredom, from discomfort. When you scroll, your brain receives rapid novelty. Each swipe delivers something slightly new, a different face, a different story, a different stimulus. Novelty triggers dopamine. Dopamine is not pleasure, it's anticipation. It pulls you forward. It tells your brain, maybe the next swipe will be interesting. Maybe the next one will be better. That anticipation loop keeps you engaged. It gives your brain something external to focus on, so it doesn't have to sit with internal noise. This is why stopping feels uncomfortable. The moment you consider putting your phone down, the stimulation ends. And what remains is stillness. In that stillness, unresolved emotion becomes noticeable. That subtle anxiety, that sense of falling behind, that feeling you didn't do enough today, that tension about tomorrow. Scrolling protects you from facing that directly. It's not about content, it's about avoidance. There's another layer. Night scrolling feels like control. During the day, much of your time belongs to responsibilities. Work, school, other people's expectations. Night feels like yours. Even if you are exhausted, even if you know you should sleep, staying awake, scrolling feels like reclaiming time. It feels like saying, this part of the day belongs to me. The problem is that this form of control is deceptive. It feels empowering in the moment, but weakens you the next morning. You trade tomorrow's clarity for tonight's illusion of freedom. The algorithm intensifies this. Social platforms are designed around variable rewards. You don't know when something highly stimulating will appear. That unpredictability is powerful. It mirrors the psychology of slot machines. Most content is average. Occasionally, something triggers strong emotion. That unpredictability keeps your brain engaged longer than it intends. The system is not neutral. It is engineered to hold attention. And when your impulse control is low at night, the system wins more easily. But this still doesn't fully explain why it feels so hard to stop when you are already tired. The missing piece is emotional regulation. Many people use night scrolling as a way to decompress. After a stressful day, your nervous system is activated. You don't feel calm. You feel tense. Wired, but tired. Silence doesn't feel relaxing. It feels exposed. Scrolling feels like decompression because it shifts attention outward. It distracts from the internal state. But distraction is not regulation. It delays regulation. Real regulation requires downshifting stimulation, not increasing it. When you scroll, you feed your brain more input, more light, more micro-emotions, more comparisons, more information. Your body might be physically lying down, but neurologically, you are still in consumption mode. So when you finally put the phone away, your brain doesn't instantly power down. It continues processing. That's why you sometimes lie there awake, even after scrolling for an hour. The stimulation lingers. There's also the issue of unfinished loops. During the day, you accumulate cognitive residue. Tasks you didn't finish. Conversations that felt awkward. Goals you postponed. Your brain keeps subtle track of these open loops. At night, without distraction, they resurface. Scrolling acts like a temporary lid placed over them. But the loops don't close. They wait. And the longer you delay sleep, the more tomorrow becomes another open loop, which increases stress the next day. The cycle feeds itself. Let's talk about the identity layer. Many people who struggle with late-night scrolling also care deeply about self-discipline. So every night becomes a small battle. You say, tonight will be different. Tonight, I'll sleep early. And when you don't, you feel a small hit to your self-image. That guilt increases stress. Increased stress increases the need for escape. And escape leads back to scrolling. It's not just a habit. It becomes a loop of expectation, failure, and avoidance. Breaking this pattern requires understanding that willpower at 2347 is the weakest strategy. You don't solve a nighttime problem with nighttime strength. You solve it structurally. The first shift is reframing what night is for. Night is not entertainment time. It is recovery time. If you see it as the final window to consume everything you missed during the day, you will always overuse it. But if you see it as preparation for tomorrow's clarity, the frame changes. Second, create friction. Right now, scrolling is frictionless. The phone is within reach. Notifications are enabled. The environment supports the habit. Move the phone away from the bed. Charge it across the room. Use grayscale mode at night. Remove the most addictive apps from your home screen. These are not dramatic changes. They are small structural barriers that force your tired brain to make a conscious decision instead of acting automatically. Third, replace scrolling with a downshift ritual. You cannot remove stimulation and leave a vacuum. The brain will seek something. Replace high stimulation input with low stimulation input. Dim lights an hour before bed. Read something physical. Journal briefly. Write tomorrow's 3 priorities so your brain stops rehearsing them. Take slow breaths with longer exhales. These actions signal safety. They teach your nervous system that it can power down without needing distraction. Fourth, confront the emotion you're avoiding. When you feel the urge to scroll, pause and ask, what am I trying not to feel right now? Is it loneliness? Pressure? Anxiety about tomorrow? Disappointment about today? Naming it reduces its intensity. You don't need to solve it at midnight. You just need to acknowledge it. Awareness reduces avoidance. Fifth, accept that stopping will feel uncomfortable at first. That discomfort is withdrawal from stimulation, not proof that you need more content. When you remove a nightly dopamine spike, your brain will protest briefly. But if you consistently reduce stimulation, your baseline resets. Nights start to feel calmer instead of empty. Now imagine a different version of 2347. You feel tired. You notice the urge to scroll. Instead of reacting automatically, you pause. You place the phone away from reach. You dim the light. You breathe slowly. You write down what's on your mind. The room feels quiet. At first, that quiet feels strange, but after a few minutes, your nervous system softens. You are not entertained, but you are calm. You fall asleep without fighting yourself. The next morning, you wake up clearer. Less fog. Less regret. That morning, clarity reinforces the new behavior, and the loop begins to shift. You don't need extreme discipline. You need awareness and structure. Night scrolling is not proof that you are weak. It is proof that your brain seeks relief from unresolved tension and overstimulation. If you reduce tension earlier in the day, downshift properly at night, and remove frictionless access to endless novelty, the urge weakens. The 2347 problem is not about screens. It's about avoidance. It's about using stimulation to outrun a stillness. But stillness is where regulation happens. And regulation is what restores energy. If you constantly escape stillness, you constantly delay recovery. The next time it's late and your thumb keeps moving, remember this. You're not craving content. You're craving relief. And relief doesn't come from one more scroll. It comes from letting your nervous system power down. That requires short-term discomfort. But that discomfort is survivable. And on the other side of it is something you've probably been missing for a long time. Real rest.